When did you get a haircut? My hair is getting kind of long. Who has gotten one of these? And yes, it's a speeding ticket. This song is so good. Nobody's in my blind spots. Ah! Excuse me, officer. Can I ask you why you pulled me over?
You were going 76 in a 50.
What? No, officer, I think you've got the wrong person. There's no way that I was going 76 in a 50.
No, you definitely were.
I was literally following everybody else.
Uh-huh.
And I was watching my speed limit because I cannot afford a speeding ticket. Could you please let me off?
I'm sorry. I literally pulled somebody over going the same speed, and that wouldn't be fair.
I know, but...
Can I have your license and registration, please?
Fine. Take my license and my registration.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I got a speeding ticket, instruction zone, going 76 in a 50. I mean, I have no idea how that happened, but I'm definitely not paying this.
You got him.
This ticket's so bad that I have to call in to figure out what the fines and the costs are. So naturally, I had to contest this. And that's what I've been doing for the last 2 weeks. I've learned a lot from this experience. This is a really expensive lesson to learn, but I just wanted to share it with you guys so that you guys can save some time and some money. And some tears. Make sure you stay till the end of this video to hear about the lessons that I learned, and hopefully they will help you in your life. Now, I just want to put a disclaimer. I am not a legal professional. This is just the things that I learned when I went to go contest my ticket. I just talked to a lot of the people in the court. I just tried to learn as much as I could around and about the situation. So if you guys have any legal advice, or if any lawyers out there that really know the whole process, make sure you leave some helpful comments for the people that are watching this video, and maybe any corrections that I might have to make. So on the speeding ticket, it said when I had to show up to court. There's two options. You could just pay the fine and just take it on your record, or you can go to court and figure out what's going on. So on your tickets, usually you'll have a phone number and a court that you have to go to. You have to go to the court wherever you get pulled over. So if it's out of state, then you have to go back to that place, and it's a real hassle. But here are a couple things that I learned about handling this whole situation. I went to the court at the date and the time that was written on my ticket. And I went in prepared to fight for my case. I've only gotten 2 speeding tickets before, and the first one I pretty much talked to a magistrate, which might be similar to the arraignment, but maybe it's because it was a smaller city that it just didn't have such a formal process. But when I went into this one, it was in Oberlin, Ohio, and they pretty much sat all of the people down, and the judge went through 3 things that you could do at this time. I later found out that this was called an arraignment, which is pretty much where you hear the charges that are made against you, and then that's when you can make your plea. There are 3 different types of pleas that you can make: guilty, no contest, and not guilty. There's another one that's not guilty by insanity, but I honestly don't know anything about that, so I'm not going to talk about that. But 2 of the 3 options can get your case settled that day. One of them is pleading guilty. Other one is pleading no contest. Now, guilty is exactly what you would expect. It means that you're accepting and you're admitting to the charges that were made against you in the ticket or the violation. There's nothing you can do but accept the full charges that were made against you. Honestly, unless you have to come into court to plead guilty, I would just call in and pay the fine, because that just saves you a little bit of time. The second one is no contest. No contest means that you're admitting to everything that's written onto the ticket. You know, the information about you, the information about the situation, the description that the police has given to you. Sometimes this allows you to talk to the prosecutor to try and figure out how you can have a more favorable outcome. The major benefit of pleading no contest is that the details that you speak about in the trial can't be used against you in another trial. So what that means is that maybe if you get into a car accident and you plead no contest, they can't use what you say to maybe sue you for bodily injury or other things. So I would say you should probably plead no contest if you're guilty, or plead not guilty. Remember, in America, you're only guilty until you're proven innocent. What? In America, you're innocent until proven guilty. Man, that was hard. The other option is that you plead not guilty. And the judge actually mentioned that a lot of times we think that if you plead not guilty, like, you're gonna lose. He gave a statistic that actually a lot of people that plead not guilty are found not guilty. And there are a couple of reasons why that is the case. For example, the prosecutor might decide not to pursue the case, so then they'll just drop the charges. The other option is that you fight and you win, and that you are proven not guilty. The only downside about this is that usually you have to schedule a different time to come in and continue the case. When you plead not guilty, there's two things that you can do, at least in the court that I was in. You can plead not guilty and then schedule a pretrial, or you can schedule a trial. Pretrial pretty much is just when you and the prosecutor meet up, you guys talk, and then you try and come to a conclusion. Most of the time, when you and the prosecutor can come to a conclusion, the judge is just gonna accept whatever you guys decided on. If you guys can't come to a decision, then you're gonna go to a trial. And that's when you really have to start fighting. That's pretty much what I did. And I'm gonna play the scenario of what happened when I called during my pretrial with the prosecutor.
This is a pretrial, so this is me you to each other.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, so first of all, I just wanted to say, like, I just really appreciate your time. The second thing is that I just really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. And so I pleaded not guilty because here, let me just tell you a little story. So, just recently I was like going through my auto insurance, and my premium was incredibly high. I'm paying $950 every 6 months, and according to my insurance, I guess many insurance providers, they said that it's because, one, I have a weather-related incident claim, and since I can't blame the snow and the sleet for having my car slide down my driveway and hit a tree, I have to take responsibility for that. And then the second is that I have a small speeding ticket from 0 to 5 and 0 points. However, that still counts as a moving violation. So I definitely, I thought that wouldn't affect my insurance. However, it did. So that's why I'm paying an insane amount on my insurance. And these violations are going to stay on my record for, the next 2 or 3 years, which means I have to pay an increased premium every 6 months. And so, a small ticket is actually a big ticket, because it, like a $200 ticket is really a $1,000 ticket over the 2 years that my insurance is raised. And so the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I was really watching my speed after I had paid my insurance, because I knew that I really can't afford such a high, a hike in my premium, as well as, the payment on a big speeding ticket. And so when I got pulled over, I was really kind of appalled, because I was watching my speed, and I don't really know how that could have happened, because I was driving on cruise control, and I was making sure I wasn't speeding. And so that's kind of why I pleaded not guilty. And I know that's not particularly enough evidence, because I'm pretty sure I wasn't speeding, but but I don't really know how to contest against a
Well, I mean, the problem is that the bigger problem that you have is, I don't know if you realize at the time that you were in a construction zone. Mm-hmm. So your speed was 76. Well, that's what you had clocked at. Which, if you were in a 70-mile-per-hour zone, is not really that big of a deal. You probably would have got a ticket. Mm-hmm. But since you were in a construction zone, it was actually 50 miles per hour with the speed limit. So you're 26 miles over.
I understand. And so that's kind of why I'm really surprised that Like,
I
because...
wasn't finished, though.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
So I'm just saying that to say, usually when, people are that much over the speed limit for the construction zone, I've offered to reduce the speed, but not to change it to a non-moving violation. But, the free trial is just if me and you come to an agreement to resolve it short of trial. And so I can change it to a turnpike regulation violation. That's not moving no speed. Not moving no points. Which would get you what you want. The fine will be $100. Court cost will be $165. How does that sound? Supposed to be $65.
It would be $165? $265
is the total. $265. $100 for the fine and $165 for the court cost.
Well, you heard most of the conversation. That's probably the best that we can do. Kind of sucks, but I'm glad that I didn't have to pay a $300 attorney fee to get that moved down to a non-moving violation. But I'm changed, I'm reformed, and from now on I just want to obey the law because I really can't afford these tickets. So I don't know that much about how to win a case. I did some research, but honestly I was a little bit afraid of doing that because, I don't know, maybe next time I'll have the balls to do that. But the goal of a pretrial, if you know you're guilty or you don't really want to fight, is that you want to try and convince the prosecutor to make your moving violation into a non-moving violation. This will stop the increase on the premiums for your insurance. As you could hear from the phone call, that's what I was going for. I was trying to get the prosecutor to drop it, but I really don't think I set it up the proper way. But in the end, I got what I was looking for. Now that all of this is said and done, there are 3 things that I learned from this experience. The first thing I learned was to put your ticket into perspective. Now, you might get a ticket that's like $100, $200, or maybe $300, but you have to also consider the points and the impact on your insurance. Now, my insurance, by getting one speeding ticket, increased my premium for about $100 to $200 every 6 months. And that's a lot. And that ticket stays on your insurance record for around 2 years, at least in Michigan. If you think about it like that, it's like a $100 to $200 increase every 6 months for 2 years. Like a $200 ticket is effectively a $1,000 ticket. And when you think about it like that, it's not just a small speeding ticket, it's actually pretty huge. The second thing is that when you put all this into perspective, it's really not worth it to speed. Actually, when you speed, you don't actually save that much time on your trip. You might save a couple minutes here and there, and then on a really long trip, you might save more. However, it's more dangerous to speed, and also, like I said before, cost of a ticket is really not worth the extra couple minutes unless it's a super big emergency, which honestly I think most of the time we're just really lazy and procrastinate and then leave the house late. So my suggestion would be to leave a little bit earlier, budget your time a little bit more so that you can get to wherever you're trying to go without speeding. The third thing is that it takes a lot of time to contest these tickets. So not only do you have to take a day off to contest the ticket, or you have to take a lot of hours because many times you have to go to the location, and if it's out of state, you pretty much have to take the whole day off to contest it. Then on top of that, if you want to plead not guilty, then you have to schedule another time. I was lucky because I could do my pretrial by phone, but otherwise I would have had to driven another 2 hours to go back to Oberlin and then contest the ticket in person. So that would have been like a 2-day ordeal just to contest the ticket. Now, yes, if you're rich or you have an attorney, you can hire an attorney to go contest it for you in an out-of-state situation. And that's actually probably what I would have done in this situation. But attorneys are also really expensive. When you put all of this together, it's really much, much better to just not get a ticket in the first place. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that we all don't get as many speeding tickets, and I hope that we can kind of see this whole legal system in a different light. It's not that justice system is trying to screw us and control us. Actually, most of these laws came because a lot of people got hurt and a lot of people have gotten injured, and they're just trying their best to stop other people from getting injured. And I think when we see it with that kind of humanity, then maybe we can respect authority a little bit better. And yes, it's not always perfect. People are people. Nobody's perfect. and so people like can abuse the power that they're given. I hope that we can take responsibility for our part. Yes, people aren't perfect. Police officers aren't perfect either. Sometimes they abuse their power, but a lot of them do a good job and help us. And so hopefully we can like do our part in making sure that we drive and be safer, because we can't control the people that suck at driving, but we ourselves can control and contribute to a better society. So hopefully these tips were helpful to you. Make sure you leave any tips on how to maybe contest a ticket, or if I got anything wrong, let me know. All you legal people, I need your help because this is just my experience. And another disclaimer, this is just my experience. I'm not a legal expert. I don't exactly know everything, but hopefully this was helpful to you. If not, it's probably just an Andy thing.